a nation's most valuable asset, its foundation, slowly being carved up into individual hands, not by wars, natural disasters, but at the very hands entrusted to protect it.
My friend, with this, your happiness that you have property here, which is also very good,
Yes,
can turn into a nightmare for you. Proper nightmare. So don't.
I appreciate it.
Get these people out of our sight. We come and see what we're doing, and we go with the business. Get them completely out of our sight.
Public land grabbing in Kenya has escalated the last 5 years, costing billions and threatening future generations. Today, we peel back the layers of these daring thefts and we ask, at what cost and who is the beneficiary? Public land grabbing is more than encroachment. It is the corrupt acquisition of public land and community land, land meant for public use, through forgery of titles, through weak legislation that pertains to land transfers, and through illegal degazettement of public lands, and through illegal allotments, and many other ways, the cabal and cartel that steals our land uses to siphon this public resource number one to their own benefit. This land grabbing spree is about public parks, forest land reserves, road reserves, school compounds, institutions' lands that have systemically been taken out of the public hands into individual hands for private and individual gain. While this has been in existence since independence, the last 5 years, we have seen an escalation of this wanton looting of public resource number one. Quantifying the exact value in money of the grabbed public land so far is notoriously difficult, as when these corrupt deals to grab these lands occur, the lands are monumentally undervalued. However, from various reliable sources, including investigative pieces by journalists and parliamentary inquiries, lands running into tens of billion shillings has been lost into private hands for personal gain. Tangible assets meant for public good and meant for undertaking of projects that are for the benefit of every Kenyan have fallen into private hands. For example, the Ngong forest was initially more than 7,000 acres of land. As we speak right now, Ngong forest only has 3,223 acres. The last 4,000 acres has slipped from public hands into private hands for the benefit of certain individuals, proliferating critical forest land that is needed for the right tree cover and for the regulation of climate. One of the most egregious and impactful land grabbing issue involves one of Kenya's oldest institutions, Egerton University. Egerton University holds vast tracts of land used for critical agricultural research to help Kenya improve on its agriculture. The university, the last 5 years, has lost well over 200 acres of land to encroachers and even outright land grabbers. The recent story circulating in the media in the last few days is that an alleged mysterious farmer has hived off 2,000 acres of land belonging to the university. As to whom it is not yet known. All this is happening in a country that has investigative agencies, in a country that has a parliament, in a country that has a president, and in a country that has an independent lands commission, and in a country that has a ministry of lands. All this is happening, and the public may lose the 2,000 acres of land to this individual, land meant for critical agricultural research. If you thought schools and universities are the only ones at risk of losing public land to land grabbers, you are in for a rude shock. A recent report by the controller of Statehouse, Gato Ole Metito, has alleged that Statehouse is one of those public institutions at risk of losing its public land. Well over 100 acres of land is said to have already been grabbed from Statehouse and state lodges across the country. Let that sink in. Statehouse.
Lemetito has revealed that land belonging to most state house and lodges have fallen into the hands of land grabbers. Appearing before the National Assembly Committee on Administration and Internal Security, Kato told the lawmakers that they have recovered 100 acres in Kakamega, with their next focus being Nakuru and Kisumu.
At the risk of losing land. That is how daring and how unapologetically bold the cabal of land grabbers in Kenya are. Let's be honest. When the white man came to Kenya, we did not have a problem of squatters. A whole section of a people not having land to dwell in, that was unheard of. But after he left, we got a whole set of land grabbers with a black skin just like us. Squatter problems are caused by land grabbers, whereby a certain cabal of individuals or a single individual grabs land from a community that is meant to settle that particular community, thereby producing persons without lands to dwell in. The amount of environmental degradation and the threat to a stable environment and predictable rain cycles that we depend on for agriculture is monumental. When we have lost over 4,000 acres of a forest like Ngong Forest, it changes the weather of the area. It changes the rain patterns of that area. It even changes the temperatures of that particular area, from cool to hot. When we lose road reserves to land grabbers, this means when we want to expand our roads, these land grabbers will be paid for land that they do not own, thereby making the nation lose billions that it would otherwise have channeled to other developmental projects. Simply because someone went and decided that a piece of road reserve belongs to them personally. And since most of them are powerful politicians in positions of power and leadership, they know when so and so road will be constructed. They know when so and so road will be tarmacked. They will rush, grab that land, put it in their names through corrupt systems, and then when the road is being constructed, they will receive millions, if not billions, in compensation. In short, the Kenyan people will be paying for land that actually belongs to them. These are some of the effects of land grabbing in this country. When school compounds are grabbed, with the rising population in the country, where do you want those schools to expand their classroom infrastructure into? Where will the kids go to play if there is no playground to play at? When institutions like the Egerton University, a critical institution in this country in agricultural research, loses its land to land grabbers who have no shame and no fear, how are we supposed to conduct the critical research that this institution was conducting if the land it was being conducted on is being grabbed by individuals? A few years back, we saw a story in the news. A mysterious person who has never really officially been mentioned to this day had attempted to grab the playground of Langata Primary School. Later on, during the launch of the new and revamped Uhuru Gardens, we had the then president, the fourth president of the Republic, Uhuru Kenyatta, say that the government had recovered hundreds of acres of land that belongs to Uhuru Gardens that had been grabbed. This was land that was to go to individual hands. And the vast spaces that you see in Uhuru Gardens that enables us even to hold national celebrations there will not be in public hands today, but will be in the hands of an individual. This wanton grabbing of public land in Kenya has led to loss of billions and is actually threatening the very future of the generations of this country. Loss of public parks, school compounds, and a lot of critical infrastructure land that is meant to do good for the society even leads to poor quality of life. Imagine the vastness of Karura Forest now not being Karura Forest, but being an estate owned by 2 or 3 individuals. Imagine Uhuru Park, where people go to relax and enjoy good times during holidays, and even politicians hold rallies, was not a park, but a person's personal property. Imagine your child learning in a public institution, but the institution does not have a playground because the playground is an estate of an individual. When this kind of trend persists, we will even lose investors. And investor confidence to invest in Kenya will be downgraded because exactly which investor wants to invest in a country where they are not sure if they will lose the land or not, where they are not sure if they build their multi-billion infrastructure investment, they will not be asked to wake up and park because some politician somewhere decided to grab that land. All this culminates into multiple losses for the country. And also the most critical one. Land is our most valuable resource and factor of production. How can we fight back against land grabbing, you may ask? One of the ways is to have the August House, which is a representative of the people, enact strict legislation that governs transfer of land, land record keeping, and issuance of title deeds. These laws must be made so tight that not even a bubble of air can pass through them. These small loopholes that are normally left when legislation is being enacted are the very windows and are the very openings that are used by land grabbers in this country and even at some point the politicians themselves, to grab public land at the expense of public good. Digitization of land records, and by land records I mean not just title deeds but all land records, including survey reports, including maps, is very critical in fighting this menace that is tearing at the country. This will help with ease of traceability. That should even a land dispute case end up in court, the court is easily able to trace all information that pertains to that land and award it to the rightful owners. Parliament must also come up with laws that are actually heavily punishing persons who are involved in land grabbing with heavy penalties, and laws that put a timeline on land grabbing cases so that a public land case does not need to take 10 years and a road that was supposed to be built somewhere is not being built because someone has rushed to court claiming a road reserve land is theirs, and now the government cannot enact this critical infrastructure for the persons of that area because someone grabbed that land. Land cases need, especially public land cases, need to be heard within 6 months or a year or less so that we can speed up infrastructure development, and we can speed up construction of roads, and we can speed up the conservation efforts of our forests, and also we can speed up the taking back of the land that has been grabbed by individuals. Above all, the most important way we can fight against this is we as the voters voting for the right leaders who will have political goodwill for the institutions that are charged with the mandate of taking care of public land to actually do their job without political interference. Without political goodwill, not much can be achieved. And also, leaders whom we elect must be leaders who are willing to work with the judiciary to strengthen the legal framework meant to protect our public land. These are just but some of the ways that we can fight land grabbing issues in this country. Story of public land grabbing in Kenya is one of stolen potential, diverted resources, and a future held hostage. The pattern is clear. Land meant for public use is finding its way into private hands. The choice before us as Kenyans is stark. Do we allow our most precious resource to keep being grabbed and proliferaged and allow it find its ownership into the hands of individuals for individual gains? Or do we as citizens stand up, demand for accountability, demand for transparency, and a return to stewardship? Our land is not just soil. It is our heritage. It is our economy. It is our identity that our forefathers shed blood for to protect against invaders. The fight for the safety of Kenyan public land is the fight for the soul of Kenya.